addiction grows in isolation when we're alone and struggling with emotions or struggling with our thoughts or both. And we want that immediate relief. It's easy to go to a false substitute, like our binge foods or just to eat to try to relieve something.
And we usually do that alone. Not always, but a lot of times we isolate so that we can overeat and not be embarrassed by our overeating.
Right. And the truth is, true love connects us to God and to others, His love. And that's what we're needing, really. We have probably love hunger more than we do have hunger for whatever that food choice would be.
Right. That's the lonely part of the HALT acronym that we
Right.
use. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yes.
Yeah. So the lonely is one of the big reasons we eat and why we need community so much.
Right. And Hebrews 10:24 to 25 says, "Let us consider how to stir up one another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together."
Right. Meeting together is so important. And
Community, yes.
yeah, just having that relationship with others and
Strength in numbers
Mhm.
and just the power of God's Spirit in a group.
Right. And Galatians 6:2 says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. So when we stay connected, the urges to overeat lose strength.
Right. And community reinforces abstinence
Right.
because we're not focused on thinking about food. We're focused on communicating with each other
Right.
and
And
connecting
helping
with
each
each
other.
other.
Right. When we help others, we ourselves get encouraged and feel the love in response to the connection with others.
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, loving God. It reorders our appetites. So we were created to hunger for God first.
Yes.
And emotional eating can sometimes misplace that longing for God's for the connection with God.
God's presence, right?
Mm-hmm. So food can become a substitute for comfort. So remembering God's love and returning love to the God who loves us and who loved us first is really satisfying deep need that we all have.
Right. And Matthew 22:37 says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind."
And Psalm 34:8 says, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good."
Right. Love that. Taste and see the Lord instead of taste and see food.
Right.
His presence is real and it's transforming.
So when we feel like we're hungry, just stopping and pausing and saying, is this really hunger or could it be something else? Sometimes just having a hot liquid. I like to drink just hot water, but hot tea, hot coffee can be helpful and be enough of a distraction to bring our minds back toward prayer and to God and His love. So, feeding the soul first reduces emotional urgency around food.
Right. And our next point here is the 12 steps are the pathway into love. The steps guide us into humility, seeking after what God wants and being humble in Him and with ourselves and then with others is so key.
Yeah, humility is a big part of steps 1, 2, and 3, and also step 6, where we examine our defects of character.
Right.
And step 7 also, where we ask God to remove our defects of character.
Yeah, and part of that confession too is another key concept of, admitting where we're wrong and admitting our shortcomings.
It really permeates all 12 steps. And when we say humility, we don't mean the shame and guilt that we often,
Yeah, that's false humility. And
yeah.
that's rooted in pride. If it's not a sober, peaceful sense of self, then it's either we're elevated or we're depleted. But
Mm-hmm.
it's more, Paul says, we have sober judgment, sober mind in the epistles. Walk in
Right.
humility.
Mm-hmm.
And then surrender is key. Also, realizing that we can't do this in our own willpower, that we can't try to give it just our best effort. We need to surrender to the Lord and surrender to the 12-step process. And in surrendering too, it's realizing we need each other too in community. And we just can't do this as a lone ranger. It doesn't work.
Right. And the 12 steps are are really important. So I really encourage people to complete all 12 of them. And you can check out my book, 12 Steps to Recovery from Overeating. That will take you through the 12 steps. There are other resources as well. And it's really all of the steps are an expression of love.
Right. Yep.